welcome to Follow Up Boss first quarter 2022 product roundup. Really excited to get this session started and dig in. We got a lot of things to cover. We're also going to tackle some of the upcoming features that'll be rolling out in the near term. So my name is Lee Adkins. I'm here today with Caroline Becker. How are you, Caroline?
I am doing great. Super excited about this session today and sharing all the fun things we've been working on.
Awesome. Yeah, we got a lot to cover. We got Paul and Hallie in the chat too. We'll be tackling your questions. We'll do our best to get to your questions if you want to drop them in the Q&A as well. If we do not get your question while we're in this section, we'll get to them at the end. So feel free to drop questions for us. But we're going to dig right in. So Caroline, lots of stuff to cover. Let's begin at the beginning. Let's see what we got going here. I think blur mode is our first new feature to tackle.
That is right. So up first is the new feature for blur mode. So kind of like the genesis of this feature, we were finding that a lot of you guys are using Follow Up Boss in like this very cool collaborative way. So like maybe you're, putting screenshots in the Facebook group, or, you're in coaching sessions, or, training new hires, and, you're sharing screens and doing all that. So, what we wanted to do was, give you a way to do that without sharing like too much information. So we made a power up that I will show you. So here in your Follow Up Boss account, if you go to the Power Ups page, we have a power up for blur mode. And when you enable that, when you go to your people tab or any of your lead profiles, you're going to see that, sensitive information for phone number, email, source is all blurred out. So you'll see that here and also on the inbox page.
Awesome. Now, Caroline, is that because you turn it on in the power up, is that account wide? Is that then global for all account users, or just the person who's logged in?
So it's going to be for the person that's logged in. So it's an individual user setting.
Great.
And then to turn it off, you just go back to the Power Ups page and turn off blur mode.
Very cool. Yeah, it's super good for a lot of things, even like you mentioned, internal team trainings or things you're going to record. Just keeps it simple. And I think sometimes too, it keeps people a little more focused. You don't see people get distracted by like, oh, look at all your Zillow Flex leads, or look at all this. So it just kind of tackles some of those things.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly. You want to be collaborative, but just not show too much information.
Not all the things.
Right.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, let's keep moving along. I think we've got deal columns next, which is really cool. So, and to be clear, this is adding columns in the people view. Is that right, Caroline, where you can now kind of sort or filter by these same things?
Yeah, exactly. So we've been kind of finding that people are leaning more into deals and adding more deals within Follow Up Boss, but we're finding that there was like a bit of a disconnect between like what they're doing in deals and their workflows on the people pages and with their smart list. So what we wanted to do was like kind of tie those together. So to build a bit of a bridge, what we've done is we've added 3 new columns to the people table that are related specifically to the deals, so that you can, create smart lists, filter and sort people based off of what's happening within their particular deal. So I will also show that one here. So I'm here on the people table, and then I actually made a smart list already, just kind of for demoing purposes. But here under columns, you'll see we have a new section for deals. And so these are the 3 new columns that we have. So it's deal stage, which you're seeing here. It says the deal name along with the pipeline and the stage for that deal. Then we have the close date, which is, the close date for a particular deal, and then the price. So some things that we've been seeing people do that are like pretty interesting with this column is maybe they just even filter, like this one is just showing me everyone where the deal stage is not empty, meaning this is everyone that has a deal in Follow Up Boss. But some other things you could do is maybe add also the close date. You could say like, show me all of the deals, all the people that have a deal that closed less than 7 days ago, for example. So there's really like a lot of filtering options that you can do, and then you can tie these into all of the other columns that are available on your smart list, like last communication or last activity, and just kind of really incorporate what's happening with the deals like into the rest of your like smart list workflows.
Yeah, and Caroline, I think in some sense, I mean, people can obviously set up their systems how they want, but I think in some sense, this replaces that active client type of smart list, because it's more like, okay, this person really has a deal. Like maybe we forgot to update the stage, but here's somebody that actually has, a transaction in process. So they're active in that sense. So
Exactly, just to help you stay like right on top of these people all the time.
awesome. Very cool. So, and again, if you missed this at the top, we're going to truck through some of this pretty quickly because number one, we've got a lot of things. There is a recording that will be available, but we're also going to tackle some of the upcoming things. So let's hop now to iPhone.
Yeah, so we have some new iPhone updates. These are ones that I'm actually pretty excited about. So the first one is that we have added the assigned and closed folders that are part of the inbox to the iPhone. So previously, you could only see the inbox on the iPhone app, which would be like any open conversations or ones you hadn't assigned or ones you hadn't closed. But if you did assign a conversation to someone else or you had closed it, you wouldn't be able to see that in the inbox on the app. So you'd have to go to the lead profile and like find the particular conversation. So you can see it here in this screenshot. We've basically just kind of added these tabs so you can see all of the conversations that you've assigned away, as well as any of the conversations that are closed.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's a great update there. The next one is just a more reliable caller ID. So we've kind of done some background updating around caller ID just to make it more reliable, more consistent. It updates a lot faster now. So that way, when you have an incoming call, you're always going to get that correct caller ID, and you can answer the phone appropriately, or make sure you don't like reject a really important call. So that's just some updates to caller ID there. And then the last one, which is probably one of my favorites, is that previously on the iPhone, you couldn't copy a phone number or an email from the app. So it was just like this annoying thing that you would run into every now and again. Obviously all your communication should stay in Follow Up Boss, but for whatever reason, you may need to like text a phone number to someone else. So now you can press and hold any of the phone numbers or emails, and you'll have the option to copy those.
Awesome. Cool. And yeah, quick mention. I just saw somebody drop this in the chat too, but I wanted to mention real quick. Be sure that you're two things here. Update your app constantly. Generally, I'm not going to give global advice here, but generally setting for these apps to update automatically is wise, and letting that happen. But and then another piece of that too is when they do update, if you click on it, you can see the version number or when it was last updated, as well as some quick notes on this was added, this was added, this was added. But there's also separately a notification setting on your phone. And so you might just check your Follow Up Boss app settings. And as far as notifications, those will push you into your phone settings. So I don't want to go too deep into that. But make sure that your app settings across your phone are also set to view on lock screen. The caller ID is tied to that as well. So again, not going to go too deep on that, but take a minute, click through, make sure your settings and updates are all happy and good. So Android, we love you guys. We're going to Android too, promise.
Yes, so we have an update for Android folks, and yeah, back to Lee's last point. Just definitely, we're pushing a lot of small updates to the Android app. We have a new Android engineer, Yen, who is awesome and putting new stuff out all the time. So yeah, definitely keep your apps up to date. The big focus, or one of the big focuses for this last quarter, was adding @ mentions to the Android app. So you can, in a note, you can @ mention a team or a pond or an individual. It's basically the same functionality that you have on the desktop app, but now it's for on the Android app. But yeah, just there's more and more coming for Android. So just make sure to keep that up to date.
Awesome. Very cool. We've got some Android stuff in the coming soon as well. But now I think we are going to tackle the new add a lead flow, the manual add a lead flow.
Yes. So, previously when you had a new lead source that, you were going to start working with, you needed to wait for that first lead to come in order to set up the lead flow. So that first lead is basically like what created the lead flow. And the problem with that was that you weren't able to proactively set up the assignment or like the action plan that you would want to be applied to those leads. So to kind of solve that problem, we've created a way where you can add that lead flow like proactively, so that when that first lead comes in, all of the rules, you catch all the rules and the correct action plan is applied. So I will also show you guys this one. So if you go to, and I guess I should mention, this will be for owners and admins, that they have the ability to do this because they can see the lead flow page. So under admin and then lead flow, if you click add a lead flow, you'll want to choose this first option for you're adding a new real estate lead provider. And then here we have a list of providers where we have, help docs available and, like easy setup guides. This, isn't an extensive list. So if you don't see something on there, it doesn't mean we don't support it. But these are the ones that we kind of just have like an easy setup flow for. So you can just search for the lead flow or the lead source you're looking for. So like maybe it's realtor.com. And then here you'll see these same kind of distribution action plan options that you see on just the regular lead flow page. So for the distribution, I could choose a pond or a group, or, keep it assigned to myself. And then I could choose my action plan that I want to go with it. Let's see, and then I'll click add lead flow here. And then you'll see that we're waiting for the first lead to come in, but this lead flow is now created. So if I wanted to update the action plan, add a lender, change my distribution group, I can do that without having to like wait for that first one.
That's awesome. That's a good one. I've had a lot of a fun time explaining that to people. Like, we can't do it until we get one. We got to do a test and then we can do all that. So you can be a bit more proactive. And then obviously, to your point, Caroline, here, you could certainly still update them after you create them. But before, there was not a simple way to create them in advance of a lead happening. So
right. And you might get like 5 really quickly, and then all 5 of those you're having to manually update. So
right.
Yeah, this is a really cool,
and all that stuff. So.
Exactly. So this is a really good option to kind of like, just do this in advance.
Awesome. For sure. So now agent created action plans are the next thing. And we want to be really clear that this is not automatically on in your account unless you just joined, like, I don't know, a week ago, a couple days ago. So most of you seeing this webinar, you should have this feature, but it is not on by default. Just wanted to be really, really clear about that, because I know some people might be like, oh my goodness, why didn't you tell me this was happening? But Caroline, why don't you tell us what this is?
Right. No, that's a great point. So, for previous to now, action plans were only able to be created by admins. And we got a lot of feedback from both sides, agents and admins, saying, hey, it's like we want the agents to also to create the action plans too. So what we've done is we've added a power up that gives you the option, it's per account, to let agents create action plans. So if you're an admin that's, like sick of having to create all these special action plans for agents, or if you're an agent that's, you really want to, you're making all of your own email templates and you want to set up that sequencing, this is a good option for those teams. But as Lee mentioned, it's off by default. So you might not notice a change unless you turn this on. But yeah, there's just another power up for this right here under agent action plans that you can just turn on and off. And basically with it on, agents will now be able to click this button to add an action plan, where previously this was missing.
Perfect. Good. I know that's been a big one. I've seen a lot of people ask about that. And again, it just depends on your business model. A lot of brokerages obviously want to be able to allow independent agents to create their own plans. And I know that wasn't a thing. Caroline, just a quick, I don't know if this is relevant for a lot of people, but in a platform level, there's an ISA level user that previously I think also couldn't create action plans. Does that allow then that user? So it allows all users to create plans?
Yeah, exactly. So they'll be able to create those action plans as well.
Awesome. Perfect. All right, cool. What about, I think Pixel is next. And this is a cool update too. So what's going on with Pixel?
This is a really cool update you wouldn't necessarily notice it. So I'm really, excited to be able to talk to you guys about it. So, if you're using the Pixel if you're using the Follow Up Boss Pixel on your website, when you send an email through Follow Up Boss, it actually has that like pixel tracking information in there, which, so when I receive the email and I'm, clicking around the website, it basically ties that activity back to my profile and Follow Up Boss. So this is like a really valuable tool. It definitely ups the amount of calls that you get if you're using like the CTA. But the problem that we were hearing about is a lot of people use like third parties for listing alerts or like newsletters. Maybe they're using MailChimp or Happy Grasshopper. So when they're sending emails through those third parties, there was no pixel tracking for on any of those emails. So what we've added is basically the ability to add pixel tracking to links in emails that you send through third parties, so that if you send an email out through Happy Grasshopper, it's a listing alert, and you have that pixel link in there, all of that activity will then, again, tie back to that profile and Follow Up Boss. So you're getting like a much more complete view of everything that person is doing, on your website, even though they got there through, like I said, like a third party email.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a big deal. In fact, I realized in hindsight, I told somebody an untruth yesterday before I realized this was in the slides. This is coming now. So if you're on this webinar now, I'll circle back with you. But yeah, that's really big. I mean, leaning into Pixel is big because I'm a big fan of following up with old leads that have recent activity, because that's sometimes even more magical than the brand new people coming in, depending on the source. So that's definitely a good one. So yeah, excited to see that come. I think the updated team inbox settings are next.
Yes. So if you guys were on our Q4 webinar for last year, you know that we added unlimited attendance to team inboxes. So a lot more people have been adding more people to their team inboxes, making it more collaborative, which of course is great. But what we needed to do is kind of give you a better picture of how the calls within those team inboxes were being routed to all those different people. So we have a bit of an update to the UI. So you'll see there's more like a table now, giving you all the different team members that are a part of the team inbox. And then you'll see their, calling options, and you can kind of just click them on or off. So you can see who's being rung on the desktop and who's being rung on mobile, and then both. So, it's just meant to kind of give you a more clear idea of like how these calls are being routed. But kind of the bonus thing, and probably the more exciting thing about this, is we've also added this option for press 1 to answer. So if you've been using team inboxes with like a large amount of people, you've maybe run into the issue where, a call is coming in and one person in the team inbox rejects the call, and it stops the call from ringing through to everyone else on the team inbox, even though maybe there was other people available to answer it. So what we've done is we've added the option to press 1 to answer. So if I'm on a team inbox and I just reject a call, the call will still ring for everyone else. And then when you answer the call, you simply just press 1 to be connected with the person that's calling. So if you do have, even like 4 or more people on there, even if there's 2 people on there, this is a really good option to select, just to make sure we're not missing any calls that we don't have to miss.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really big. And thanks for explaining it that way, because I know people all the time are like, why would I want an extra step to press 1 to answer? But that was a great explanation of that. So,
Thanks.
all right, cool. let's just send this recording to people when they ask me now. So yeah, branded subdomain now, so people can change. Now let's clarify after people do it what this actually affects, because I want to be clear, this isn't really something that anybody sees except for people in your account. I mean, your leads are not seeing this, doesn't need to be connected to your site, but you can now update the subdomain, the URL of your Follow Up Boss account. And some people maybe didn't have a team when they started with Follow Up Boss and now they do, or they just didn't care what it was when they started. And now they're like, why does it always say, user 12345 at .followupboss.com? So this is now able to be edited. Caroline, what happens to the old domain? Does it totally fall off? What happens if somebody tries to use the old domain? Does that still work?
Yeah, so the old domain does kind of like fall away. So you'll actually have a new domain moving forward. But yeah, as you mentioned, Lee, like when you create a follow-up boss account, we just generate this we call it a subdomain for you. So like you'll see in this account, this is the office hours with Lee, account. But we just generate that automatically. So yeah, if you've changed your branding or you want to, have more team branding, you can update this. But yeah, if you had this like bookmarked, like your old, like a smart list bookmark in your browser or something like that, you will need to update that across the board. So, just be wary when you are changing it. But yeah, it's a great feature, especially if you have like old branding in there, or if these are links that you want to end up adding to an employee handbook, it can be important that like the correct business name is there, of course. So yeah, just be sure to update anything that you've like bookmarked along the way as well.
Awesome. Very cool. And I think video text is next.
Yeah, so this also ties into something we talked about on the Q4 webinar last year. So we've seen a lot of really great use of video text and people sending really cool video text and all that stuff. So kudos there. But one piece that was missing is that if you made a video text in Follow Up Boss, there wasn't really a way to save it. So if you wanted to like send it to someone else or like save it to your phone for later, there wasn't a way to do that. So what we've done is we've added that. We've added the ability to download a video text that you've sent through Follow Up Boss, from the desktop or the app, and it will save to, your computer or your phone. So, you could share it on social media. You could send it to someone else, just keep on hand, that kind of thing.
Cool. That's super cool. I know that was a big people were big on that when it came out. We're like, oh no, I did this great video and now I want to use it for everybody. But it's
Yeah,
just
and sometimes that first take is the perfect one and you don't want to do it again.
That's right. That's awesome. Super cool. So we'll keep moving. RealScout direct integration is now a thing.
Yeah, this is a really exciting one to talk about. So, at Follow Up Boss, we want to be, the best real estate CRM, and we always want to empower you to have that like best in class, tech stack. So that means, partnering with like some of the top tools. So this last quarter, we worked with RealScout on creating a direct integration with Follow Up Boss. I believe previously it was like through Zapier, but now that it's a direct integration, it's a super seamless setup process, and it's really robust syncing between the two systems. So you're not having to jump back and forth between them. So I'm really excited about this integration. We've heard tons of great feedback from the people that are using it. So if you haven't given it a try yet, yeah, now would be a really great time.
Cool. And I just want to reiterate that particularly with RealScout, I think there are a lot of things to be connected. So the reason we're mentioning this specifically is that it's a fairly deep integration. As many of you know, there are Follow Boss has an open API to integrate with anybody that'll integrate back. We just felt this one was a little more specifically notable just because a lot of people have been asking for it. But there are, a lot of platforms sync via True API. A lot work via either lead processing or email lead processing, or any of that. And then obviously there's some Zapier or some fancier things you can do beyond that to kind of band-aid. But we thought this one in particular was notable to mention. So cool. And then so that caps off the updates for Q1. I'm sure it wasn't all the updates that happened, but those are the key ones we wanted to make
Yeah,
sure
these
that
are
we
the noteworthy ones.
So, Caroline, is there anything on here we want to kind of circle back through really quick? I mean, I know we kind of pushed through them pretty quickly, but you know, they're pretty straight ahead. So I think we can move on to some of the upcoming.
Yeah. So we have some things that we're kind of like in the process of working on that, some of this I can show you now. Some of it we can just talk about, but there's some really exciting things that are on the horizon as well. The first one that I wanted to chat through was call waiting. So right now, when you're on a call on your desktop on Follow Up Boss, if there's another call that's coming through, you're actually not notified of that. So it's just going to end up as like a missed call in your inbox. And the bummer about that is like you could be on a non-important call or you could be on hold or whatever, and you're missing an important call that's coming through. So it shows it pretty clearly in this screenshot here. It's not something I can demo it this second, but if you're on a call, so if like I was on a call with Lee and an incoming call came in, I would see this box pop up here giving me the number or the name of the person that's calling in. And then it's kind of those standard options that you get like when you have an incoming call on your cell phone and you're on a call. So you have the ability to end and accept, which would, disconnect me with Lee and connect me with this person, or I could simply decline it. But I think this is going to be a really big improvement for, people that are often on the phones or, spend a lot of time on the dialer, just making sure you're getting to the right calls at the right time.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I actually, embarrassed to admit, I was not aware of that. I asked about it a couple of months ago and people were like, nope, no call waiting. I was like, okay, well, so here it is. And to your point, Caroline, we are a lot of times waiting on that one call. Like, yeah, we don't need to answer all of them, but the attorney or title's finally calling us back. We need us or our ISA or whoever to hop off and grab that call. So definitely excited for that. And I think next there's some deeper deals settings I think people will be excited about.
Yeah, I'm really excited about these too. So you might have seen at the end of the year, we sent out a product survey. And like I said earlier, we found that a lot more people were really like leaning into deals and deal management and Follow Up Boss. And like there was a very clear two things that people wanted more of. One was to be able to track their splits, and the other was that they needed more fields. So, previously our deal card was like pretty like simple. But we found that we needed to add a bit more to make it more robust and for people to get like more value out of deals. So these are the two that we've focused on, this last quarter. So I'll give you a preview of those. So this is the new deal card that you'll see. There's a few more things in here. So the first thing is commission was an existing field, but you'll see now when I click commission, we have a little in-app calculator, which I think shouldn't be understated. I think that's like really helpful. Instead of having to pull out your phone to, calculate a percentage, you can now just do that directly in the app. So you can see if I put in percent and type in 6, it does that calculation for me. And then once I have my commission in here, I can then add an agent and a team or like brokerage split. So it's kind of the same workflow. You have this little calculator here. So maybe we're splitting this one 50-50. So you'll see if I type in 50%, I'm getting that calculation back. And then I can do the same for team. And you can still always type in an exact dollar amount. But that being able to put in the percentage will definitely, at least save you some time, save you from having to pull out your phone, basically.
Awesome. And I want to reiterate two things. We're in the coming soon section now. So don't go looking for this. It's coming soon. But also, just to be clear for some people, I know a lot of people have been looking to lean hard into using this for their actual like definitive dollar to dollar number. And I think I just want to be really clear that while you can add other fields, I still don't think this necessarily replaces the ability to drill down, record fees. Some of you charge flat fees. Some of them are paid by the buyer. Some of them are taken out at close. Like it can be very complicated in different markets for what different people do. But again, your feedback was heard. People really wanted this. And so these have been added here. But again, I don't think this is going to replace a full like CD level of all the fees and all the pieces of an exact number. Now, that said, there's some custom fields coming. So if you wanted to drill down yourself and do some more fancy things, that's going to be a
Yeah.
thing.
Brilliant segue there. So the next thing is we've added custom fields for deals, and they work really similar to the custom fields that we already have for the lead profiles. So you'll see that you can add as many as you want here. I've just added 4, and they're the different fields just to show you guys. So you can have a text field here, which is just a free text field. You can put whatever you want in here. We have a date field, so you can add, again, as many dates as you want, but it's that same like date selector, so you can select from a calendar. We have a number field, so this is a great place to put, like Lee said, like some different fees, additional credits, that kind of thing. And then we also have a drop down field available too, so that you could, put some like pre-selections in here. Important to note that this is for account owners are the ones that are going to set up these custom fields for deals, similar to how that's restricted to them for the lead profiles as well. But you'll find them under the settings page, and you can just add a custom field, and you'll recognize this. This is the exact same modal that you are used to. So it should be pretty easy to pick up as soon as it is available for you guys.
Awesome. Very cool. And so some more Android things on the coming soon. We're going to have deals on Android.
Yes. So similar to app mentions, this is a piece of functionality that didn't exist on the Android previously. We have it for the iPhone, we have it for desktop, we didn't have it for Android. So this is a new thing coming for Android. So you'll be able to view all of your deals within the app, obviously see the new deal information from the app, keeping you all in sync so you're not missing out on that, whole portion of the app when you're on the road. So deals will be coming to Android very soon.
Awesome. That's great. I'm really excited about the next one, Business Insights. I think this is really, really cool. So this is basically the Business Insights part is essentially an email that's sent weekly, right, Caroline? And it covers some key items in your system, like what's shown here.
Yeah, exactly. So the first bit of this is, so we're wanting to add more like business insights in general to your account and like agent insights, but this is kind of where we're starting. So the first thing is this business insights email that is sent every Monday morning to the account owner, but the account owner can also choose to include other people on that email. So if there's an admin they want to include, or maybe a coach, they can include them on this weekly email too. But basically what it does is it gives you an overview of how you're tracking against your 2022 production goal, which is something you put under the company settings. So it gives you some info on how you're tracking against your goal, and then basically breaks it down by what happened the previous week. So, in this example here, you can see, there's 51 leads added last week, and kind of what happened with those leads. 14 appointments were set, 5 remain unactioned. And then it's going to link you over to some of those more like robust reporting places and Follow-Up Boss, like the agent activity or the lead sources report, something along those lines. So it kind of will give you an overview of what happened last week and help you like drill in and see, what could have been different last week that would have helped us track, closer along with our goal and, make this week even better.
That's awesome. I love that. And what about, there's some coaching insights coming too. I don't know if how much do we tell people about that?
Yeah, I can give you guys kind of a sneak preview of that. So, a lot of the Follow-Up Boss reporting is very like metric based. So, we know how many calls the agent made, that kind of thing. But what we were missing is kind of those like just, taking a step back and like empowering people to make those, set those goals in the first place. So what we're coming up with is like basically like an agent profile, and like that you can be used for, coaching purposes. So agents can, maybe set these goals. Like maybe they want to take a vacation this year. Maybe they want to close X amount of deals. So giving agents a place to set that information, but then also having that place be where coaches or team leads can go and talk with agents about how they're tracking towards those goals. So that will be a separate report that you will see, within Follow Up Boss. And actually, that's a good segue into our next slide too.
Yeah, call log report. I'm excited about this too.
Yeah, so this is the one that I can show you guys. This is, another place that we can, kind of start around doing some coaching, but it's, meant to give you better visibility into like how calls are actually being handled by particular agents on your team. So I'll show you this one and also give you a preview of our reporting overview page. So right now, when you go to reporting, you're brought to like a specific report within agent activity. But soon you'll be brought to this overview page where you can see all of the reports available, where you'll see your agent one-on-one report that's coming soon. But if you click on calls, we now have this call logs report. So the way that this works is, this is a test account, so there's kind of some weird information in here, but it's categorized by like the agent that was included in the call. So like Emma had missed this incoming call from this person. Or, this person had a call from Duncan. You can click directly to Duncan's profile. You can go see that call within like an inbox. So you can go to that actual conversation, but it will also give you a way to just download or play that call on the spot. Some cool things here is that we have the agent filtering. So if you were doing like a coaching call with, someone on here, I don't know if Agent Kuno has any calls, but if you're doing a coaching call, you could always filter down to that exact person and like run through the last 10 calls that they had and pull out some key coaching insights basically. Yeah, and it's just pulling that all together for you, because right now, otherwise it's kind of separated out into individual profiles.
Yeah, and sorting by inbox too is interesting. Some of you that do like Google My Business or things like that, where you may have a dedicated inbox to that source. This also allows you to drill down. I believe, can you filter by inbox there yet, Caroline, or am I jumping the gun?
You're jumping the gun a little bit. You can,
right.
you can sort by
3.
but that is something that we have on the horizon as well.
Awesome. Cool. I'm a big fan of this. I think this is really great. And even the differentiation between the incoming and outbound. Obviously, since the test, it's all incoming. But even just having that differentiation is certainly a big deal. So
yeah, exactly. And so you'll see some changes here, but hopefully this kind of gives you an idea of the direction that we're heading with this.
Cool. Love that. That's really great. So yeah, I think next we want to tackle showing people a roadmap, both where to find it and to submit ideas. So the roadmap is, we love all your ideas. We love all the stuff in the chat. We love you posting in the Follow Up Boss Success community on Facebook. But the roadmap is what the team internally actually looks at to see like, hey, look, a lot of people want this, or hey, this is a great idea. We should add this. So to find this, you go, while logged into Follow Boss, you go to your name or initials or picture in the top right, drop down to roadmap. And you can see here, it's divided into web, iPhone, and Android. And in each of those, there's an under consideration, which is where you would post your ideas. Working on means it's actually in development, and launched means it's live in your account.
Yeah, exactly. And, I don't think we can reiterate this enough. Like everything that we decide to work on or make improvements on, it's based off of your feedback and how you're using Follow Up Boss. So we always want to hear about that. So you may think it's like an obscure idea, but you post it in here and you may get like 40 other people that are, also are really looking for this. So this is what we comb through all the time. We read through everything and we really build things based off of like what you're needing and, how you're using Follow Up Boss. Like that's how we identify like gaps in the system and that kind of thing. So definitely always feel free to chime in on any of these. And as Lee said, you can always add one as well, which I think it's a little bit covered right now.
Yeah, as a little
Right
plus.
there.
Yeah. And then Caroline, let's just, so we can be really clear on this, let's click on one that's under consideration, just so we can show people kind of the voting. Like there's 3 options.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's a deeper description. There's 3 choices of, hey, is this nice to have? Is this important? Or is this critical? And then I believe there's also a spot where you can add a little context, say like, hey, we would use this way, or we would do that. That's really powerful too, because I think for the team to understand your use case is really good. And maybe I'll get in trouble for this, but as much as people post in the Facebook group, hey, it'd be great if we did this, my recommendation would be to come here and submit, and then drop in the Facebook group, hey, I just submitted this idea. If you guys also want this, go vote it. Because again, as much as people are monitoring the Facebook group, this, like Caroline said, this is where the product team literally looks to say, hey, what do people want? And the surveys that are sent out. So be
Yeah.
sure to tackle those when you see them.
Absolutely. And this context that you add here is invaluable. So, this might be, you see schedule text to be sent later and you're like, oh, this is cool. And you can say, I want this. But if you, add a little bit more context on exactly how you would use it, or like when you would use it, or the scenario that happens now because this is missing, that's just all, more context for us when we're building this, and it helps us make sure we're building it the right way. And yeah, as Lee mentioned, making sure to vote on how critical this is. This kind of like changes like the scoring of some of these. So definitely make sure you're updating both of these.
Very cool. And just a couple more quick things, and we can hop back to the slides. We wanted to go over the video resources that are available in both Follow Up Boss Academy and the YouTube channel. Yeah, let's hop into Academy. We'll get a link dropped in for the YouTube channel too. So Follow Up Boss Academy is a series of courses, documents, information. This conversion summit still blows my mind. Like I still reference that all the time. There's so much good info in here that's still hyper relevant, even though the summit was like a year and a half ago. There's links to things that people talk about in the videos, as far as some people have some of their email templates or action plans in here. This is gold. There's so much in here. Dale's Conversion University is in here, which is also amazing and available for training for all of your users. A little bit of a, not quite a set it and forget it, but a great way to empower people on your team or to use yourself as far as learning things. There's also a lot of great things here in Dale's course as well that you could print up, you could use while you're on a call. Some really great visuals. So really recommend this. And again, to get to this, you could go to the question mark in your account. I think you can get to it through either place, and then Follow Up Boss Academy. So, and you'll love it once you're here. And it may the very first time require you to do a quick, like, hey, set up your account, which involves using your email address tied to your Follow Up Boss account, and then you're good to go. So there's some of the previous bosses and actions and whatnot in here as well as some other sessions. But I want to jump to YouTube now, because YouTube has a ton. I'll drop a quick link in. YouTube has a ton of these things as well, and they're organized into playlists. So if you want to watch all the latest bosses and actions in order, or some of the recent office hours, or some of the Follow Up Boss quick tips that are short videos on each of these features that can help either a new agent learn, or I find sometimes every time I watch them anew, I learn something new. So there's a ton of great playlists and things on YouTube. Be sure you subscribe. And there's also a little bell next to the subscribe button. So if you'd like to be notified via your YouTube channel every time, or YouTube account, every time a new video is posted, click that bell and you'll get a notification. So I think that's all, Caroline. I don't know if that's enough stuff for people, but
yeah, I think that's it for this quarter. But yeah, some really great new things coming next quarter. So I'm excited to share what we do in Q2 as well.
Awesome. I'm going to drop that. I'm grabbing that YouTube URL. I'll drop that in. It looks like people have had the majority of their questions tackled. Here goes the YouTube link. Really appreciate you guys joining us. We love running these down, and we love that you guys are so attentive and engaged in this. The chat and Q&A have been amazing. And Paul and Hallie, big props to you guys for tackling all those great questions so quickly. So thanks again. Y'all take care.
Thanks, everyone.